Hello and welcome back to the PLP. Some slightly late weekend games. I've decided to do them late so I could bless you all with my voice while we're doing it. Wouldn't have had time over the weekend, but I thought I'd watch it with you today. We've got League 1, League 2 and not the NLP today. The FA Trophy instead. We're at the quarter-final stage with 4 of the 6 NLP entrants, as you can see there, still active. And annoyingly they've been grouped together. So we've got Craig and then Gourlay and Marshy vying for a place in the semi-finals of the FA Trophy. And annoyingly, because I've brought us so close to the 3 o'clock kickoff, are they going to throw us into the media room? Yeah, they are. And it's for my game as well. At least I don't have to watch how much I lose by on the pitch. Annoying though. Because to be honest, I have no idea what's going on. Just got that little commentary bar at the bottom for reference. And I suppose usually this would be a good time for me to give you loads of stats and everything, but I am very ill prepared for this one. Just came along for the watch along, to be honest. I suppose the only context which helps in this game is league position. Sadly for Harry, not a lot to play for this season. Still hovering, well, it's about 17th or 18th, but it's bottom of the draft it seems. No ambitions of the playoffs, unfortunately. I, on the other hand, I'm only a couple of places ahead of him. But points per game wise, I'm very much within playoff contention. I've just got a lot of games in hand. And with all due respect to Harry, I could do without losing this one. But seemingly every time we have watched Harry, especially at home, he seems to upset the form book and pull a win out of nowhere. Small mercies from FM giving us a really short first half. Just give me a 1-0 win and we'll get out of here in the next couple of minutes. I think Harry had a midweek free of fixtures. I, on the other hand, had a tricky Champions League game up against Inter Milan. Which I did win, to be fair. 2-1 at home, trying to retain my Champions League title. Got a trip to the San Siro next week. Meanwhile, Matt Warrington's done it the other way around against AC Milan. He's already visited San Siro, came away with a draw, so looking actually pretty handy as he brings the red and black side of Milan to Upton Park. There we go. No more highlights. Get us to the end. See, I can't see it, but I can only assume that was an absolute thunderbolt from Laurent Robert. Goal of the season, probably. League-wise, I've been in pretty patchy form, it must be said. At one point, it was looking pretty nailed on that I'd be at least in the playoff picture with the games in hand I had. I know I was already sitting in the playoffs despite those sort of the deficit of fixtures. That certainly isn't the case at the moment. I'm hovering around mid-table at best. Still though, with points to be won and the gap to be clawed back if I win games like this. It's usually just the one game that throws us into this weird little, I say media room, there's nothing at the front, so I'm not really sure what they're looking at. Maybe a tactics room? A tactics room where they're actually looking at FM. Meta, breaking the fourth wall on FM. Oh, George Weir's going to come in and ruin everything. Is he? Oh, it's Balak! Get in. Should we take a look at that replay? Well, small mercies, this hasn't gone on for too long. Oh, he says as there's another stop. Are we getting a third? It's Les! 20th goal of the season, some of them for me, some of them for Lawrence. And all 3 points for the Mattpies. overdue, decent performance. Of course, it had to be the one time I couldn't actually see it happening. Maybe I'll watch all games from that weird room. Here's a football pitch. And it's a good game to come back to. Much better than mine and Harry's. Two teams very much vying for promotion. We'll see from the league table in a sec. Third against fifth. And actually Warringham, who did have a lot of games in hand, have caught up now. And it's actually Jazz with the game extra. But he, I guess, is slightly further back. Automatic would be pretty tricky at this stage. And he's in that melee with absolutely everyone else, seemingly, trying to get into the playoffs. Warringham's built himself a bit of a cushion, by contrast. Certainly want to win these home games. See him home. He's another, a bit like me and Wyman, like I said, who's still in European action. Second leg with AC Milan coming up. One thing that I have just been reminded of with that save from Jack Butland is the ongoing injury to Jerzy Dudek, which isn't helping Jamie. What is helping him is that lovely little partnership between Henri and Letitia. I've said it before, but it is nice to see the maniac tinfoil hat wearing Matt getting involved in this project after breaking his leg last year. Interestingly, Morton Pedersen, who's been around the block for a few different draft teams already over these 2 years, suddenly found a home at Upton Park. He's played and started pretty much every game since joining in January from Dauncey's Devils. Could not get a game there. Obviously a bit of a cult hero. Not for everyone, really. Who doesn't love Morton Gamst? He's finally getting some game time and playing really well. Not sure what De Gea's doing there, letting his old teammate ghost in at the back post. Now, one thing I would say, with 45 minutes left, it's rare to get through a game without an Erling Haaland goal. Right on cue. It's one of those situations when you play Warringham where you basically start 1-0 down. You know at some point Haaland's going to score. It's on you to score at least twice. First and second draft picks up against each other today. Henri being taken off the shelf with the very first pick by Jazz back in the day, a couple of summers ago, and that man not far behind, Matt Warrington with the second pick of the draft. Straight in for Erling, and that's why. Fortunately, Jack Butland don't think was even taken in the draft, and that's also why. Another assist for Pedersen. It's been a good game though. Glad we came in for this one. This wouldn't have been so much fun from a weird tactics data room. Haaland with an assist. Can't help himself. If anyone can stop Erling Haaland, it's Colin Hendry. think we're all agreed that Erling Haaland wouldn't have scored as many goals as he had if Colin Hendry had been around. Oh, it's nearly Kante of all people. Benito Carboni, is that his first appearance? Picked up in the January waivers. Love seeing players like that get game time. Similar ilk to this man. But it is looking like another big Warringham win on his march towards automatic promotion. So at least contention, if not one of the favourites to go up now. Tricky one for Jazz the Rovers, but a decent performance still. There'll be other games where 3 points are expected as opposed to this one. And annoyingly now, I was hoping they'd save the 2 FA Trophy games till last, but looks like we're going all over the show. It's the NLP leaders, Marshyside Red, taking a trip to Gourlayverpool, who sort of hovering in that cemented playoff realm in the division. Sort of 3rd or 4th, very decent on their day. Possible to call this one, I'd say. I'm going to predict penalties straight off the bat. Interesting that Van Nistelrooy's been, I presume, rested. I don't think he's injured again. Only just back after a very long time out. Came back immediately, scored a brace. I do understand why he'd be rested in the FA Trophy, perhaps. Rasmus Højlund reprising his role up top. Oh dear. Kelleher in absolute no man's land. Says at the bottom that Mourinho wants more passion and spirit. I presume he also wants the opposing goalkeeper to go for a wander. Called a draw. Gourlay haven't had a single shot in the first half. The away team showing why they are now resounding favourites to get promoted back up to League Two. Seem to be dispatching the other drafted teams with relative ease in recent weeks. I think I said it the other day, but I'd expect them to be a lot more competitive in that division next year as well. They might be FA Trophy champions by then as well. I think if he holds on here, it would have to be one of the Craigs to stop him. Still just the one. Can Gourlayverpool just mount one last surge? Or is Marshy, like he's done so many times, just doing just enough? He is. Well, mate, on to the semis. to the other quarter-final. It's otbCraig, as in Trudgell, up against NottinGiant Forest, as in Daniels, Messrs. Craig and Craig. And actually the home team have steadied the ship in recent weeks. They're on that awful run, but do seem to have turned a slight corner. He says as he nearly concedes within 4 minutes. Big win at Manchester not so long ago, compounded by another win since then. Again, not necessarily taking this competition overly seriously. Got Jonathan Rowe, Tim Closer and Andy Marshall all getting rare games. Of course, it's the stalwart Carlton Palmer. You can throw him into any situation. Boy, did they miss him for those few weeks. Seeing, yeah, the away side with a few changes as well. Likes of Matteo Flamini, Tony Yeboah, Leon Bailey, Rico Henry, Lewis Dunk. Not regulars, I'd say. Takes a lot to drop captain Niakate. Brian Clough seems to be in love with him, but not there today. It does, at the moment, look like first and second from the NLP are going to be the last two teams representing us in the FA Trophy. Unless NottinGiant can do something in this second half. Another not to have played too many games this season. This prodigy, Matt Upson, doing it for the Norfolk lads. And it's Dispace Daniels fighting back. Jonas Gutierrez, famously from just up the road from Dis, somewhere near Buenos Aires. Rare outing for Daly and Atkinson. I thought he'd be more involved this season, I'll be honest, but always a pleasure. Is it Jonas again? It's equaliser. Pablo Hernandez at the back post. Maybe this is the one that's going to pens. Oh, it's the third. Morientes, one of the best poachers of the late 90s, early 2000s. Andy Marshall with a very suspect dive, sidewards, looking the wrong way, and potentially putting his team out of the FA Trophy. It is. Daniels beats Trudgell. And it's NottinGiant off to the semi-finals, hopefully not against Marshyside, so we can set up that grand final. But FM's been a bit sneaky on that front recently. Now a bit of an anticlimax, no offence to Connor and Dan. shooting back down to League Two. Down, up, sideways, whichever you want to call it. And two teams I think we'll see in a second that were, well, actually they were mid-table, with Connor pushing onto the playoffs and Danielsea looking down, and it's completely been upturned recently. And Danielsea, who were sitting sort of 17th, 18th, couldn't really put a run of games together, and now suddenly in the playoff picture, a picture that Connorwich were part of literally 2-3 weeks ago. Dan was so close to promotion last year, went out in the playoffs. Had a pretty torrid start to this year. All of a sudden something's clicked. Pep finally getting a tune out of the likes of Kane and Havertz and Pulisic. Andre Schürrle's been pretty potent as well. Does just seem to be that centre-back issue. For some reason, Paul McGrath doesn't seem to get a game, and he was first choice centre-back when Dan drafted. He's sort of been left usually with the likes of Wilfred Boomer and Ron Villar as it is today. Which seems a bit ridiculous in the context of every single Premier League player that's existed, that you end up with those two. If Connor is to remount a claim for promotion, it's going to be his home games that he needs to win. And right on cue, well worked goal. Obviously the lack of Jordan Pickford isn't helping Connorwich in recent weeks, but just everything seems to have capitulated slightly. No longer getting a tune out of Shearer or Adebayor or Fowler or Vardy or whoever he has up front. Maybe it's time for Emile Heskey. Oh, if you doubt Alan, that's what he'll do. What a hit. I mean, ridiculous defending. My prophecy of the centre-back issues coming true immediately. Can't teach that. Arguably the two best ever English strikers to have graced the Premier League up against each other. Statistically, can't be disputed. Obviously Emile Heskey, livid at the idea of it. Could have turned it around. It's turned into a decent game all of a sudden. End to end. And it's Kane, 20th goal of the season. I'd suggest 2/3 of those have come in the last month. I know he's towards the top end in terms of appearances and matches played. But, you know, once you've got those points on the board, it's on the likes of myself and the Sky Lews and a couple of others to actually make up the deficit and to win those games in hand. And at the moment, the momentum for the playoffs is very much with Dan Gregory and his Danielsea boys. Despite that bizarre Dutch defence. Lovely play. Just looking at the stats as well, he was getting he was on the receiving end of those stats towards the start of the season. I think he got beat like 3 or 4-0 by like a non-drafted lower league team in one of the cups, which pretty much summed up his first half of the year. And now he's dominating away games. Is there any late drama again? Oh, nearly. Dan wins again. Dark horses now becoming feared rivals. So going through the other scores, there are some games in League One, just none deemed worthy of highlight action today. But as you can see, we've got a couple here. Nice easy win for League One leaders, Ellister City away at Blackpool. Nice to see Marlon Harewood getting on the score sheet. Slightly concerning injury to Tony Adams, which Matty won't be happy with. Other than that, another textbook day at the office. Neil Eardley getting himself sent off as well. Helped matters. And a comfortable win for Foyster as well. Refound his groove in recent weeks. Poor George Elokobi getting injured was a bit of help to the home team. And continues to mix up that strike force. Liam Delap had initially kept his place. In fact, did keep his place. It was Tevez, and then Tevez's replacement, presumably because of injury, was hauled off before the 24th minute. Ian Rush coming on to seal the deal with 2 more. Down to League 2, and the aforementioned Sky Lews keeping pressure on those playoff positions as well. Good to see Yusuf Chippo seems to be getting games this season. And I know I've been mocking Louis about his ridiculous fixture schedule. It's not going to be ideal to see Chris Smalling and Luca Dean both going off injured. He's basically playing every 2 days until May. Keep sneaking those wins at the moment though. Riyad Mahrez ensuring this one. Now this is a bizarre result. No offence to Wyman, but along with Harry, they've been the sort of 2 abject add-ons in the league this season. Chesh, meanwhile, very much with playoff, if not automatic hopes. And he's gone down 1-0 at home. Golden oldie Ruud Gullit with the winning goal. And not even that outrageous front 2 of Klinsmann and Salah able to do anything about it. The Red Whall, another team to have really hit form recently, a bit like Danielsea. Started the season well, hit a blip, suddenly won the Carabao Cup, and they've won every game since, and must be back in the playoff picture again. Solskjaer and Eriksson doing some early damage. Calver's late Gakpo response, not enough. Another interesting one here. Højbjerg has potentially given Lawrence something to worry about at the top of the table. Of all the games he's won recently, and he's dropped points to a non-drafted team, John Flanagan of all people scoring the equaliser. Even with 10 men, he'd have been hoping to see that through. Interesting to see what that does to the league table with Warringham winning earlier. We can look at that in a sec. Let's go back up to League One first. We can see Matty pretty comfortable. Now played the same amount of games as Thomas, as he tops the 100 mark with 7 games to go. Ridiculous season from the top 4, as you'd expect. But Foyverton also now on the same amount of games, 2 points behind Thomas, 6 points off Matty. Not completely out of the equation for those automatic places. Lawrence has dropped points today. He's still got 3 games in hand and is a point to the good on both Dauncey and Matt Warrington. Chesh's loss, not helpful. And actually Louis now is looking really, really dangerous for an automatic place. 6 games in hand on second and third. 8/9 points off the mix. the Red Whall also got themselves back into playoff contention. And then I'm sort of an interesting one as well. 6 points off the playoffs, but again, 5, 7 or 8 games in hand on some of those teams in the playoffs currently. Wyman's win, not enough to see him off the bottom of the drafted contingent, but he has got a hell of a lot of games in hand on Harry. Then beyond that, Connor, I'd say the playoffs looking out of reach for him now as well. 10 points off it, and he's played a few more than everyone else. Beyond that though, I think you could go down as far as maybe Craig, 13th. All still in contention for those promotion spots. Any sackings today? Nothing that concerns us. Cool, so I'll be back in touch shortly with a week ahead update. I think we've got EFL trophy action as well as some extra League and Champions League, Europa League, Conference League games all coming up during the week. Catch you then.